Hello YouTube and welcome back to episode 6 of how to make a browser game for dummies. So today I want to start working on adding a logo on the left side before the title. And also I want to start working on adding a login and registration, or at least the links here and then the forms behind that. And also the backend for that stuff will have to be done as well. And that includes storing an account into the database and retrieving those details and checking if a person entered the correct details and start to log in. So this will be quite an advanced episode compared to the other ones, because the previous ones were mostly just HTML and CSS, so that's going to be quite interesting. So first let's take a look at the database, because we will have to add a column here in the configuration. And let's take a look. Let's add a column at the bottom called logo, and the data type will be varchar. Let's see where it is, over there. And the length can be anything. Let's make it like 255. That's fine for now. And then if you go back to the data itself, you can see that it's currently null. We will have to place a file name in here later. So if you have a file editing program, you could start it up right now. For example, Photoshop or Paint, anything would work out, because we just need a little placeholder logo. Let me quickly make one. Let's make it like 100 by 100 pixels. And let's take a look. What are we going to make? Let's do something crazy. Smaller brush maybe. Let's make a little knight, whatever. This is my representation of a knight. Okay, so awesome. Let's store it. Let's store it on the let's store it directly in the right folder. I think I got it. WAMP, MMORTS, front end, design. Okay, so let's go into front end and let's check Aptana quickly and see if I got an image folder yet. I can't remember. No. Okay, so in front end, let's add a new folder called images, and let's open it and store logo knight PNG or a JPEG. Yeah, let's store it as a JPEG and let's save it, and let's put quality on high, whatever. It doesn't really matter with an image like this. Okay, so now let's open up the let me quickly open up the folder on my other screen. And there it is. Oof. So front end, images, and there it is. Let's rename it and copy the name, including the file extension. If you cannot see the file extension, press Alt on your keyboard and click on View. And then there should be something like file name extensions. You need to enable that shit. So let's rename it, copy this. Minimize this and go back into the database, and where it currently says logo null, double click and paste the name in there. So now the column logo contains the file name plus the extension. So just minimize this for now and go back into your editor. And now if we open templates header, this is basically where let's see, this stuff is loaded in. So we could add the logo in front. We can do that by creating an image, and the source will be, let's see, front end images, and then just leave it at this for now, and then close it. That's basically all you need, with a slash and another arrow to the right. So later over here we will open and close PHP and add a variable that gets the file name and file extension from the database. But first let's clean this up a little bit, because right now if we would execute an image like this, this will be broken. So we will have to make two divs. Div class logo inside of header, and let's put the image in there like so. And then let's make another one, div class title, and let's put the title stuff in there, and let's then close it like so. So Next thing that we have to do is go into our CSS. Let's just open it for now at least. Where did I put that? Design, CSS, style sheet. Let's just open this for now. And let's close this folder so that it doesn't look like a big mess. And let's open pages. No. I had a configuration file, right? Yes. Okay, awesome. So in here, I'm currently getting these variables, but I also want to get the logo. So let's add a new row like so. Just copy one of the above, make sure that this all stays and looks nice. At least that's what I would do with my OCD. And let's get the row or the column logo. Yeah, that should actually work just fine, I think. So logo is currently being assigned with the column logo from the database. So now if we go back into the header and echo logo over here, that should work. Let's check in the index file quickly. Let's check the designed index file. Okay, it's assigning globals here, so we will have to add a global logo here as well. Global logo. Otherwise it won't work because it's pulling variables from different files. So you have to make it a global first. So now it's a global and now it should work. So now what it will do is it will try to find an image from front end images with the following name: logo-night.jpg. So this should work. Let's take a look. Oh no, it broke. Okay, let's see. Line 27, undefined index logo. Okay, so it's not working because it cannot find the logo thing, and that's because, well, why is that? Let's take a look at config. Line 27. So we just added this. And it's not working because I think this needs to be in the right order. We can try it. I'm not entirely sure. Let's just try it. No, okay, that's not gonna do it. Let's put that back where it belongs. And let's see. Undefined index logo. Title is a row name, separated description. Oh, okay, sorry guys. I just noticed that I'm not using select everything with the asterisk, but I'm actually like defining the columns that I want to get, which is more efficient. But it also means that I will have to add comma logo here. So now it should work, and there we go. So as you can see, like I predicted, everything would be bugged up right here because the divs are like stacked on top of each other. As you can see, title, logo are stacked on top. So we will have to float those guys and make sure that they get like positioned next to each other. So here's our header. So let's add the logo stuff here and the title stuff as well, because that kind of makes sense. Like here's the general header CSS. So anything header related should be close to that, in my opinion. So let's give this guy, let's give the logo a float to the left. And let's give the title a float to the left as well. Now let's take a look at the website. And that's already looking way better, except that this guy is just, it's like, oh no, there's no content, so I'm gonna be very small. But if you add a, let's quickly try this, overflow hidden to this, it will not work because the header needs one. Okay, let's delete this overflow hidden. Let's go into the header. Quickly some debugging and you'll see it will work. So let's go into the header and let's add overflow hidden, semicolon. And now it should work just fine. There's something wrong with the title's height though. Okay, so the logo is 100 pixels high. So let's make the title div 100 pixels high as well, just to keep that in line. Height 100 pixels. We could always change that later. What's going on with this? Okay, let's just remove that. And we can we can make that look nicer later. So let's just leave it at this for now. We could, however, put a little bit of a margin between the two, 15 pixels or something. Oh wait, that's top margin. Let's make it margin dash left, 15 pixels. And now it works just fine. So let's just leave it at this for now. This is how you this is how I would get a file name from a database and then use it to find a file locally in the files, like so, from front-end images, and it tries to find that result. So to make it perfect, however, you should also do a little bit of checking here. Like for example, the variable logo. Is it what you expect it to be? Because if you don't do that, your site can get hacked, can get injected like that. So you would have to do some checking here to make sure that variable logo is what you expect it to be. A file that's this high and this much pixels wide, and that is this size and blah 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 blah. But we will do that later in another episode. Okay, so next I want to start working on a login and registration like thingy on the right over here, I think. So let's add another div in the header. Div class is quotation marks, and I think I will call account actions, and then close it. Put the closing div tag to the bottom because that's nicer. Let me quickly take a sip of my coffee because my mouth is getting dry. I love coffee. Okay, so in here, let's add login and let's add registration. So now if we load this up, it will say login and registration right here, and that doesn't look very nice. So let's go into the CSS stuff. I don't know why I closed it. Let's see, design CSS, style sheet, and let's add below here dot account dash details, and then like so. And let's give it a float to the right. So now it will float to the right, if I'm correct. Why is it not doing that? Account actions. I just quickly have to debug it myself as well. Let's see, so float left, and this guy is not receiving the float right for some reason. And it also looks very bad. Okay, let's just place it in line for now. And let's go into account details. And why is that not receiving? Account actions. Oh, I'm a fool. Okay, let's copy the class over. And that should be account actions. So I made a little typo there. Sorry, guys. So now if we refresh, it will stick to the right. Exactly what we want. Now let's give it a margin top 50 pixels or something. I don't know how high it is. Let's check how high it is. It's 120 pixels. So let's give it what would make sense. Like, I don't know. Let's give it like 40. Yeah, that's in the middle, I think. Okay, so that looks kind of okay. Let's give it a margin right as well, so that it will get a little bit of space between the right border. Like 25 pixels would be awesome. And now, since that is all looking awesome, let's add two links, href, like usual. Let's first check the top index file. Let's see how I fix this, because it's been a while since I worked on these episodes. Functions. Okay, so currently we've got an index file and a contact file. Let's copy this else if. Let's copy the last one with the contact stuff, and let's paste it below here twice. So let's call this one login, not login, but login. And let's call this guy register. And let's require front-end pages login and front-end pages register. Those don't exist yet, but I will fix those in a second. Okay, so let's take a look at the header file, the front-end index file, front-end index. Let's take a look at this guy. And let's copy this href. And let's go back to the, where is it? The header file. And we started working on the href for the login. So let's add quotation marks and let's copy the href that we just copied in. Let's close the link and let's put the login like in between the link stuff. I hope that makes sense. And let's rename page is index to login because we added another section into the function stuff for that login. So once page is logged in, it will require this page. And let's do the same for the registration stuff. Closing tag, and let's stick this together for now. That's okay. And let's call this guy register, like it says in the functions file. So now if we go to this page, you can see that these links are now working. But if we go to them, we get an error, of course. So let's start working on making those pages a thing, because currently they don't exist. So let's copy the index file and let's paste it as login.php, and let's paste it one more time as register.php. Let's open up login first, and let's rename this guy to login. This is the login page, and of course we will all change that later, but for now, just for clarity, I will just do it like this. So now if we go back to the website, I hope I'm not going too fast. So now if you go to the website and click on login, it will work. This is the login page. This is the registration page. Okay, so that's all awesome. I guess we can now start working on adding a registration form. That's how I do it usually. First I work on the registration form. I make sure that it works like I want it to. And then I can insert data into the database, which we will also work on later. We will make another table for the users. And then if I can successfully insert the right information into the database, I most of the time start working on being able to log in. So retrieving and comparing the details. So let me quickly look up how to make a form in Bootstrap. Okay guys, so here we are. I found the example that I wanted to give you. Let me drag the window in. So here we go. So as you can see, this is a very simple vertical Bootstrap form, and it will ask for the email and for the password. And as you can see, it looks kind of nice. It looks nicer than when we would use just HTML and CSS. So let's just I will just type this over and make it together with you guys, because we will have to change it up a little bit anyways. So let's go into our editor and let's go to register. And let's see, let's quickly see how it looks. Register. So this is the register page. Let's for now delete the links down here because we don't need them for now. And let's also delete the paragraph. So in here we are going to start working on the form. So arrow to the left, form role is form because it's a form. Just assign it as anything that you assign in HTML. And then close it with the right arrow, and it will automatically spawn the closing tag because of my editor. But just if it doesn't, just type that over and move it down like I did. And then you make a div like usual, and you give it a class called form-group. And this is something that we haven't defined, but what got predefined by Bootstrap itself. So we don't have to worry about that. It will work. So in here we create a label. So arrow to the left, label for is email, or in our case, yeah, let's just leave it at email. Closing, and then we call it email. We put the content in there, email address. I think that's how you spell it. Okay, so let's go to the second line and add another input. Or add a input, arrow to the left, input, type is quotation marks, email, and class is quotation marks, form control. And this is also predefined by Bootstrap, so don't worry about it. That's Bootstrap already includes a class like that. And let's give it the ID is quotation marks, email. So now what this does is basically the label for email is basically like hooked up by the ID. So ID is email, for is email. This basically hooks it up. Makes these two guys a pair. Anyways, so now if you go back to the site and load this up, you can see that it looks the same. So this is what's awesome about Bootstrap. You can very quickly get some nice looking inputs or messages or whatever using Bootstrap. And the label is nicely placed above the input like so. So now we could copy this stuff. Like for example, I would recommend copying the entire form group and not just the label and the input. You could like do it like so, but that's not what you should do. You should instead, for each input line, like for example, this is the email, but we also want to get the username and a password. For each one of those, you should make a separate form group. So let's copy it twice over. And now let's call this guy password. And let's add the content password. This is basically just what the label is going to say. Let's also add a what's this guy called? Well, let's just add this. Let me quickly look up what it's called. Okay, so I found out what it's called, and it's called a colon. Okay, so let's add a colon at the most right part of the content of the label. Let's do that for all labels. So let's add a colon here as well. And that's going to look a little bit better, because if you go to the website, you can see that the colon here, like, it's kind of a thing that people do, like to tell you that you can type in here. Makes sense, right? I hope. Okay, that's not what I need. That's close word. Anyways, so let's go back into the editor, and so we now have a label for password with the content password, but we still need to fix this guy. So the type is password, and these types are actually predefined by HTML, I believe. So this is not things that we made up right now. This is actually existing types, and these types you can find on the internet. I will probably add a link to the description for those guys. Anyways, the class, leave it at the same, because classes can be reused, and the ID is password. Now the bottom one, let's call it username, label for username, and let's put username like so, and type is text, and ID is username. So let me try something quickly. If we type in type is, oh okay, wait, the class is bugging it up. Type is blah. Oh, it doesn't give me values sometimes. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so the Aptana gives me like the types that the HTML core has, and there's a bunch of types, as you can see. Button, checkbox, color, date, datetime, blah 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 blah. Email, password, text. So let's add text for this guy. So that's quite useful. That's why I like Aptana a lot. It's very noob friendly, and I'm still a big noob, so. Okay, so let's see. Now if you go to the website, we need to enter an email address, a password, and a username. And the awesome thing of these types is that if I type something in here, you cannot read it. The type password does this. And if we type something like test in here, it will work. But the type will look if the input given is a valid email address. So if I would submit this form like so, it would give me a warning, because this is not an email address. But if I would send it like so, it would work. This doesn't mean it's a valid email address, but it's in the right format. Text is just text, so you could like enter anything in here, even numbers. It's like a varchar in a database. Okay, so let's make a little bit more sense of the order of these input fields. So let's move username in front of the password, and let's move email all the way down, because most of the times that's the last thing that you have to enter before doing anything. So username, password, email address. I think that's a nice order. Let's check Amazon, for example. Let's see how those guys do it. Okay, so let's quickly log out, sign out, and let's create an account. Okay, so it first asks for our name, username. Then it asks for our email and then our password. Okay, well, I like this setup. So let's do it like this. And then all the way at the bottom, let's go into the code again. And then below the last form group, we add a button. So arrow to the left, button. Type is submit. It's just another one of those types. Basically, this is saying that if you press this button, the form will be submit. And the class is btn dash, btn space, so nothing in between, and another btn dash default. And this is CSS from Bootstrap once again. So basically, you are assigning all the CSS attached to btn, and also all the CSS assigned to btn default, and you are assigning that to the button. So after this, close it with the right arrow, and in my case it will automatically spawn the button closing tag, and in between add submit, like so. Just type submit. Now if you go back to the page, a button will be added like so, and it will look quite nice. Now if we press on it, it will just go somewhere, because it doesn't we haven't told it where to go yet. Let's try this email thing that I was talking about though. It should work. Test. Let's just enter test for now. Let's see what it does. Yeah. Please include an apostrophe sign or whatever it's called in English. In Dutch we call it an apenstaart. And that literally means a monkey tail. We call it a monkey tail. That's quite ridiculous. It kind of looks like a monkey tail. Okay, anyways. Test. Test. And now it will go through right fine. Okay, so we can even execute it like so. And we don't want that. We want that people enter all of the values. And I believe we can very easily fix that by typing required before the most right arrow going to the right. So let's copy this and let's paste that down for all three values, inputs. And now, if we go back to the form and reload it, and we enter, for example, just the email address, it will say, please fill out this field. Test. Okay, now, well, let's try to go now. No, please fill out this field. Bam. Okay, now it works. Awesome. So, my time is up for this episode. I don't have any more time to add the backend stuff, but I will do that next episode together with you guys. I think that's going to be very awesome, because this is like where it gets quite exciting. Where we if the user registration and logging in stuff is done, we can start working on the game itself. Because right now we've been doing a lot of the basic HTML, CSS that you would use for any website, like modular website designing. But you know, next episode, it's all gonna start like unraveling towards the web game design stuff. So that's gonna be very cool, man. I'm very excited about it. So once again, thank you guys for watching. And if you like this episode, please leave a like. If you would like to see more, definitely subscribe to my channel, because I will try to upload this stuff weekly and sometimes even daily. It's just that I'm doing this besides my job. So yeah. Most of the times I'm a little bit tired after work, so I'm sorry that it sometimes takes a lot of time. I will try to upload at least weekly. So once again, thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!